Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. We are so happy you guys are here with us. And we actually have an amazing guest who's actually been on our podcast not once, but twice, because we know you as our listener love her as much as we love her. And this is Margie Keates. If you haven't, I know you guys are probably following her. And if you haven't listened to our previous episode, the first episode was in our very first season, episode number 5, where she talks about, building your brand. I think it's still relevant. You should definitely take a listen to it. And then a few seasons later, we had her back because we were all experiencing a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I think it's important to remind everybody that even though we've been doing this for so many years, have so many different followers, that sometimes we all feel it. We feel that piece of us that feels like, fake it until you make it. And even though you guys think that we made it, we're still working toward this goal that we have, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, as you know, earlier this year, Margie kind of took a step back, and we were all been a little bit curious on why she's taking that back, because we feel like, Margie, you're amazing. Everybody just loves the content you create. And I love that you exist in this stratosphere of doing what you love, doing what you're making, and finding the people that love what you are, because you are a brand itself, along with your flowers. And so I think everyone's just like, is it okay for us to take a break? And I'm jealous that you are able to take this break, because I feel like we keep making and making and making, and then opportunities comes, and then you can't find that breathing moment, and you're all just running, walking. But it's never a slowdown. And taking that break is so important as an artist, as a creator. And we're here today to talk about why you need to take a break. And actually, it's okay to take that break, because it's so important as females, as entrepreneurs, as artists, as creators, to be able to do that, to give us ourselves permission. So Margie, welcome back to Paper Talk.
Thank you so much. You ladies know how much I love you, and that was such a nice opening. So thank you so much. I'm very excited to be back. And let's just get right into it. We were laughing a little bit about the trajectory of how I've been on this podcast, and it is a little up and down, but I think that's literally what a career artist's life looks like. So I can just go into basically what was happening last year. And I think a lot of this was just little moments, like little things. I would get a win, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then it would just be, I don't know if it was this. I actually can't really pinpoint it, and this is not going to be a great part of this podcast, but it was just slow little chips at my confidence. And I love what you just said. It was very kind of you that I present myself in some sort of stratosphere. And I definitely think that Instagram and social media makes things look really, really nice and pretty. And that's what you see. But if you really look at the Instagram, I think I posted maybe 6 times, maybe 8 in the whole year of 2025. And so when I think about that, and I think about the work I was producing, it was almost subconscious that I didn't even realize that I wasn't so proud of that work that I wasn't even sharing it, not even in stories. The only time I was sharing it was when I was hoping I could make a sale. And so I think that's really what happened was when I first started this, and Quynh, you know this, and Jessie, so do you, and I believe Sara maybe. I was really confident in my why I started. And it wasn't about making money. I just fell in love with this art form. And I really know point blank that I got lucky when I started. I got lucky that I was ahead of a wave of incredible artists that came after us, but that there were people before me that were already kind of paving it. And then I just fell into this really lovely, creative, and supportive community that just let me shine and keep growing. And that allowed for other people to shine and keep growing. And it was a really great wave. And I was at the head of that wave. Yeah. And I believe all 3 of you were as well. We were all starting at that same time. And so we just kind of felt like, oh, okay, this is momentum that's not even created by me. And so it was easy for me to express that the reason I was doing this was because I loved it, because I do. And that it was such an amazing art form that still to this day, actually, a couple of days ago, I was showing someone my work and watching their eyes like be like, what do you mean that's paper? That is for sure still my base why. It's so much fun to be able to create something with your own hands that most people have never seen before.
Yeah.
And it is so fun to watch like that wonderment. And in this day and age, I know I've said this over and over again, but that is so rare. And so it is a superpower, but that's the thing I clung on to for a very long time. And last year, I was chasing sales. I needed to make rent, I needed to pay my bills, and I got really scared. Collections weren't doing it anymore. Random things that I would think, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna do really well," because it's always done really well, weren't.
Yeah.
And I had my collectors, I had my incredible clients who were really had my back, but it was hard. It was hard to find new traction. And also in the changing world of Instagram, that was also hard. I became stagnant. Not that numbers matter. And I know that for a while there, we were all chasing numbers. But once I got to a number that I was like, whoa, I think I've made it. And I'm like, this actually made zero difference. If anything, it hurt my sales
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like people thought I either was too busy or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very interesting transition that happened for me. So there was just like I said, like a lot of little things, and then I lost my creative fire. I got scared to put new things out. I got scared to try new things in the studio. I was scared. And I'm gonna get a little teary. I'm so sorry
Oh.
if I do. I think this is one of the first times I've really like talked it out, but I want to be as vulnerable as possible because this was it was interesting because like it wasn't well, it was really hard. So for the first for all of last year, I think I'd come home and cry every day. And it was one
I
of
want to
those
reach
things.
out and give you a
I'm so
hug,
I
sorry. I
know.
know.
A virtual hug.
Why did
Yes.
I do my makeup? No, no, no. I appreciate you girls so much. But I think it was just this like, what am I doing? And why
Yeah.
isn't it resonating? And why don't I even love what I'm creating?
Mm-hmm.
And so I switched things around and I'm like, maybe, well, yeah. So since collections weren't doing so well and even custom orders dropped off like a cliff, I was like, okay, let's do ready to ship. And then that way you get a chance to really just explore and have fun with it and try to remove these guardrails that you're used to when you're working with custom and when you're working with collections. And at first it was really fun. And then again, it just became a numbers game. Like, how many do I have to sell in order to pay for rent?
Yeah.
That just cut me at my knees. And so again, I'd feel really weird going to the studio and going to work and just coming home that day. And my husband would be like, "What'd you make today?" And I'm like, literally nothing, like nothing that I even want to boast about. And that was strange. And so for a year, I fought it. I just kept trying. I kept
Yeah.
pushing. I kept creating what I thought would sell the fastest, not what I wanted to create because I
Mm.
loved it and was excited about it.
Yeah.
And I just got to the end of the year and I'm like, I don't want to go to the work anymore. And that was weird. I've never ever felt that before. In my highest high and the craziest, busiest I've ever been, I have never ever wanted to take a break. I've had to take a break because of like my hands and like my mental stability. But I've
Yes.
always but I've always been like, I cannot wait to get back. I have
Yeah.
all of these ideas and I
Yeah.
just was blank. So that was what my year was. I just went into this. So do you have any questions about that?
First of
Wild.
all, I want to give you a giant hug. It is hard
Yeah.
being a solo entrepreneur. I think each of us have all experienced that because we work by ourselves. We never
Mhm.
really get a chance to. I feel very fortunate that I get to talk to Jessie and Sarah almost on a weekly basis to be able to hash ideas, to give me that push, to give me a reality check. And I think it's so important that even though our niche is so small, our community has such a big heart. And I reached out to you, Margie, and I
Oh,
wish I've messaged you and just checked in on you. I'm so sorry that
no.
I didn't do that because I feel like you are such an amazing person. And I feel like I'm tearing up too.
Oh
I'm
my
like
no,
I should have been a better friend for you. I'm so sorry that I didn't do that for you.
no, it's okay. Please don't apologize. I wasn't ready to confront it. I actually had a few paper florists reach out, which was really sweet. And I wasn't even ready to express what I was so scared. I
Mhm.
mean, and my identity's wrapped into this, just like you said. And so I didn't know how to separate that out and not feel like I failed. And it's funny because I'm not necessarily afraid of failure. Like, that's how we got into this. And when we create with our hands and when we create with paper, you're failing all the time. So, like, and that's actually the fun part. Like, it was, but it was so strange to, I know that this community is so supportive and so loving. And I know that a lot of community members have looked up to me. So I'm like, I just didn't even know how to express it. And so I appreciate you saying that, but I don't even know if I would have been able to express fully what I was going through until I gave myself permission to just to say it out loud. Like,
Yeah.
I need a break. And that didn't come until the end of the year. But it was interesting because, like, remember when I was in Singapore last year and I got to meet up with,
Eileen.
oh, my Eileen. I was like, I cannot believe I am spacing her name. I'm so sorry. Eileen, if you're listening, I love you. You know how much I love you. I'm not gonna mess it up even more because I met with another amazing artist and I'm also forgetting her name. I'm emotional. It's fine. Okay. But I met with these incredible paper florists and we were going through kind of everyone's ups and downs. And they were also expressing how they were also going through some tough times. And even for them, I was like, guys, it's going to come back around for us. You just got to keep creating. I know it's so hard. I'm in the same boat. Let's do it. So I just think that I was keeping myself here when I really was just, I was faking it till I was trying to make it, but I really was doing myself a disservice by not being honest with myself. And I'm really proud of getting through last year. Like, I'm really grateful that I pushed because I don't think that if I would have tried every angle and then taken a break, I don't think I would be okay with this.
Mhm.
I needed to try as much as I could. The only thing that I didn't try, which is what I'm going to keep trying this year, which we can get to later, was really pushing my still lifes. But that's another. I think that's also what really was another ding to my self esteem in general
Mhm.
was having these pieces on my wall that a buyer fell through and it just gutted me. And instead of like brushing it off and just being able to like move on, I've just sat with it for 2 years and I can't get myself out of it, and I think the feeling of, like, those aren't good enough and now my regular work isn't good enough and no sales are coming in, I just was in this really negative spiral that I couldn't get out of,
Mm.
and I'm really, really grateful that I have such a loving and supportive husband who he was the one who fought with me till probably the very, very last day where he's like, "Please don't. You don't need a job. Like, you don't need we can figure it out. Please don't." He's always been my number 1 fan, and I love him so much.
Oh, yay
Oh my
for
gosh, I'm so
amazing
sorry.
husband.
I did not think that I
Yes.
was gonna do that, but yeah, like, he begged me not to do this, but
Ugh,
now it's been 3 months, and I think he sees the light in me again, and
Yeah.
I think he's much happier. Plus, because I made it very clear to him, and I've made it very clear to anybody I've talked to in the newsletter too, was just like, "I don't believe this is a goodbye. I just needed to walk away for it." I don't know how long actually, but I know this isn't goodbye. But it's been an interesting transition, that's for sure. Clearly still emotional about it. Sorry, guys.
That's totally
Margie,
understandable.
yeah.
when I saw your post, it actually, yeah, I was pretty emotional about it, just not even hearing the whole story behind it. Because you were actually one of the first fellow paper flower artists that I followed. I've followed you since the beginning of what I think, like maybe even when Instagram first started. I feel like it
Yeah,
was
it's
that
like
old, right?
2013. No,
Yeah.
2014 maybe, yeah.
So, like, weirdly, like, I mean, not that we are like super good friends or anything, but in my head, I'm like, she's the first Instagram like artist that I followed. And, I mean, even though we're just liking each other's stuff, like to me, it felt like it was a personal impact too when you
Yeah.
posted that you were taking a break. But like hearing all of that, what you just said, like it definitely resonates because I do feel like it's this balance of having a business and then like the art is so personal to us, right? Like, and yeah, and sadly, like if, my view count is low or if my sales are low or if I'm having less like just less anything, like it feels personal because that art is like mine, you know? So,
Yeah.
and so when you're just saying all of that, and that makes it so that like we naturally need to make more sales and like, and this hustle culture is so like we need to normalize that hustle is not like a good thing because I
Right.
feel like it's also just like we got to make 6 figures, we got to make 7 figures, and I'm like, what? Like where are these numbers coming from? And they're just artists, and so I'm like, are we really making this much money with
Yeah.
these, yeah,
Mhm.
like, so I think it's that pressure too. And that's when it gets like, oh, I don't like doing what I do. Right. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think when you were mentioning the whole like, you know, being really like heartbroken with like sales and like numbers, I think that is, I know, like, how do we balance that? And we talk
Yeah.
about this all the time on our podcast. I don't know, actually. We try to act
Still
Genuinely.
like we
doing
kind
it,
of
I know.
know,
Yes.
but I don't know if we know.
Well, and I think that everyone's revenue streams are so different. And I think that's also what's so incredible about this community is that we're all not fighting for the same sales, right? So there's that comfort in knowing that everyone has kind of different niches and different avenues they can go out down, and obviously different revenue streams. And I think the mistake, I feel like, and I don't want to say mistake because it worked for a while, but I focused on one stream, and then it dried up, and I didn't know how to pivot. Well,
Actually, Margie, do you mind
oh,
talking a
yes.
little bit about your subscription business? I know you don't have it anymore, but I remember
Yeah.
we talked about it with our mastermind, but I realized we didn't actually share it with everyone. It was just our mastermind students. Do you mind talking a little bit about that and that process and then the, ebb and flow of that and then your eventual decision to discontinue it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually think that was one of my better ideas.
It was.
It was
It
like
really no, it
from
really
our
was.
side, it looked like amazing.
It
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
great, especially the quarterly ones. Those were a little bit easier to wrap my head around and be able to produce it, and they were at a good price point, and if I had a certain amount of it was great. It was really great. I would say the first 2 years, I was definitely over my profit margins. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But it also was I think I had at one point 70 subscribers.
That's
And that
awesome.
was it started to get a little like, "Whoa, I have to make 70 sunflowers every month, and
Yeah.
now I have 70 peonies."
Mhm.
And it just started to get really boring because I was, like, making the same flower, and then there was custom orders still coming in,
Yeah.
and then I would have to think about Mother's Day,
Mhm.
because that's huge too, and so I don't think I wouldn't call myself burning out, but I just was like, "I don't wanna make the same stuff over and over again." But then what happened was, it was a great model for my current clients, but if I didn't find new ones every year, why these clients are great, but they're like, "I don't need 24 bud vases floating around." And I'm like, "You're right. These don't die." Great. And so then what I would try to do is I would try to then I'm like, "Okay, well, let's change the color palette. Let's, like, make it more seasonal." And adding the, mini arrangements was a really good idea because that was easy to transition to, like, market towards this is for your holidays. This is spring. This is summer. This is
Yeah.
fall. And it was great for the first, like I said, 3 years. And then I wasn't retaining customers and I wasn't finding new ones. So there was a point where I think I only had like 10 subscribers. And I was like, this doesn't make sense mathematically anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't making money. Like I was bringing in a sale, but obviously these are priced in a way where your margins are much smaller
Mhm.
because you want to incentivize people to stay. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is a good try and a good option, but I'll close it down. Oh, that's why. I'm like, why did I close this? I genuinely thought that that year was the year I was transitioning to still lifes on the wall. And that I knew was going to be a much bigger shift that I was going to open up to custom orders for that.
Yeah.
And those pieces take me up to 2 months.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is a way different business plan, but this is
Mhm.
where I want to go. And when I had that seller for the collection that I have right now, or that buyer, excuse me. I'm
Yeah.
like, at this price point, I can take a year off and transition the business over to
Mhm.
and pay my bills still.
Yeah.
So I closed the subscriptions down so I could focus on that. And they were already dwindling anyway. And it's not like I closed a revenue source that was like already it was already dwindling for me. So I was like, okay, it might be time for me to close this off and transition to this. And then that fell through. And then I was like, we're just going to keep doing custom work and
Yeah.
we're just going to keep doing my collections
Yeah.
because that's worked for years and years and years. And it wasn't enough. I don't think I realized how much the subscriptions were subsidizing the custom orders that were slowly but surely going down. But I didn't think about that because I had plenty of work to do.
Yeah. Wait, did you have someone helping you at the time? Or was that just you?
When I had the subscriptions, it was, yes, I did have 2 people helping me, but then COVID hit. And then the subscriptions jumped up because, of
Yeah.
course,
You were at
everyone
home.
wants.
Yeah.
And so I was then way, way busier, but needed to do it on my own. And so then I kind of went through that wave for the next 2 years because that really was that
Yeah.
wave. I'm sure you guys all felt it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a nice push to what can we send to people because we
Yeah.
can't go anywhere. That wave I feel like slowed down for me in 2022. And then I finished this Still Life collection in 2023. Really thought that that was going to go somewhere. It didn't. 2024 was just a surviving year, which ended up being okay. And then last year was just like, I am underwater here. I'm treading. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subscriptions, I think I ended it 2 years ago, maybe 3. I don't even know where I am anymore.
I know.
But I do think that was, something that, like, I removed from the market, and I don't know if anybody has filled that spot yet. Well, that was weird. My power went out.
Yeah.
That's okay. But, what I was saying is that once I left the market, I don't know if I saw if anybody went in to that. I do think that there's something interesting there. I would just give the feedback of how to retain customers, and maybe a monthly one doesn't feel as feasible. People loved it and the price point was great, but you will lose that one customer after a year. They don't most
Yeah.
people don't need that many flowers in their home, which is shocking. But anyway,
Right,
so yeah,
right.
there's my subscription. Do you have any other questions about that?
There was definitely like a phase, I think, when you were, at the peak of your subscriptions, that subscriptions in general were like such a popular like business model for like a lot of companies.
Business, yeah.
I mean, outside of
Mhm.
art related things,
Yeah,
like
I think we were
coffee
in a convenience
subscriptions
thing.
and
Yeah, a lot of
mhm,
people loved that convenience feel of like, "Oh, let's just get it to me."
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to
Yeah.
make sure that my customers felt really, really loved. So I would do handwritten notes. I would things like that. Like, here's your monthly tip or something.
Yeah.
People loved it. It was just, they don't need it for years and years and years. So I just kind
Yeah.
of, there's a point where it just kind of shuts off. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was I was too busy to keep up with the marketing, which is funny because what I'm doing now for my part-time job, and we can get into that later, I'm like, oh, I should have done a lot of things differently. But that's fine. I'm like, oh, I just kind of I mean, I'm sure you guys know this. I'm sure everyone who's listening feels this way. We're just one person. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I really only have the bandwidth to be able to push this once, maybe twice,
Yeah.
until I need
Yeah.
to move on to actually creating the product and then shipping the product and then dealing with back end stuff and taxes and then creating new product again. And it's just, that's a lot to do. And I think that is incredible that we as artists have done it. And for some of us have done it for so long. But when you break that down, it is so many jobs.
Yeah. It
These are
is.
full-time jobs for people. So it's just,
I mean,
yeah,
social media marketing is one job, full-time job for
Yeah.
someone at a brand.
easily,
Yeah.
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway, haven't thought about subscriptions in a long time. Those were fun.
I know.
Sorry, I
I'm
should bring that
thinking
back.
about it. I'm like, should I just, maybe I should go back to that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh my goodness. Let's jump into your part-time job that you just mentioned. So what are
Yeah.
you doing now and how long was your break before you says, okay, I need to go, I've recovered a little bit of my mental health. I need to bring in income for my family. What made you go part-time and what are you doing right now?
So there wasn't really that much of a break, which is so much that's on par for me. because I just am very like, I can't sit and do nothing. This will make me feel even worse. So I did something I haven't done in over 14 years, which is updated my CV, which I'm like, what do I write? Like,
Right.
what do I even, how do I explain this job? And I hate that I use this, but like, don't judge me. I did use AI to help me because I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, I haven't done this. And so I just kind of
First of
entered in
all,
my like, sorry,
Margie, don't apologize about AI. I feel like if you guys are not on AI right now, using it on somewhat helping your business, because as Margie said, you are one person. How do you supplement and keep your brain sane? You need to use AI. There's the potential there is really endless. And I hate to be on this platform to be saying it, but my husband is worried about his job because
yeah,
he is a software developer. And if he is not up to date on how to, and he says that because of our age group, he was actually at the cusp of the beginning of how to program to
yeah,
now he has all decades of experience of how to program. And kids that are going to school right now do not really know how to program, but they're using AI to program. So
Mhm.
they don't really understand the gist of it. So if you guys are not using AI to help you right now, you're going to be late to the game and you are not going to be moving with. I know there's an age group that we're all talking about as people who are making paper flowers. They're either hobbyists that has a side job, they're retired and they want to make this and they want to bring in extra income. So there's a mindset of technology. And I know there's a good portion of you that we've talked to that loves technology that are in my age group, 50 plus, that is really all for it. And you should be. It's a great way to help you ease some of that stress, that pressure of being able to wearing 17 hats, of doing
Mhm.
accounting, of doing marketing, of being a lawyer because you need to write contract. This is something that will help you, not hinder you if you know how to use it in the right way. Sorry, that was my spill because I feel like so important and to change people's mindset about AI.
sure.
Sorry, Margie.
I definitely, no, don't apologize. I think I'm just a few steps behind you on my feelings about it, only because I haven't had to use it.
Mhm.
But I agree with you. I definitely think it's something that can help. To your point about your husband, my husband's also a software engineer and he's in the healthcare care field. And yes, at first he was like, yeah, I'm worried. And then he started to see the code that was coming through. And he's like, these people don't know what they're doing though, because they're assuming that the AI is correct. And I'm not saying the AI is not going to get better. I do think you should know what you're doing with this product. It's gonna get better, it's gonna get more knowledgeable, but right now, it's still going it's basically saying, like, this should function as someone to help you with ideas, but it should not be doing all of your work. And since your husband knows so much and so does mine, because he also he's about probably about 10 years behind your husband, but still enough, he's been doing it for long enough that he's like, "This is a problem you should have noticed right away. You would have never written code like this, but you didn't write it."
Mhm.
So where I'm coming from is I'm trying to use it as help and not hinder my ability to critically think and my ability to critically move forward in the process of building whatever I plan on building next. But where I'm going with the AI in the CV was like, I can write my own freaking resume, right? I'm like, no, this is actually incredibly difficult. And what it put out for me, what I'm going with is like, holy crap, we're badasses. Excuse my language, but like, what?
We are. We
What?
are.
Like, it was wild what it was.
Listed for you.
Basically broke down what I did for the last 11 years. And I'm like, well, you're right. I can do all of this
Yeah.
stuff. So anyway, so I put together a resume, I think in October. That's kind of last year where I was just like, I'm done. And that was a really scary first step. And then I started applying for different jobs, basically just like administrative assistant jobs. Like I'm just like, because my thought process was I still want to go to the studio. I actually still have the studio. I re-signed a lease for the next 2 years because I really don't feel like this is forever. Like, but I needed to step away. And so I was like, well, I just need to find something that's not like, I don't know how to say this. I don't know, just like that would excite me, but without taking my complete attention away.
Mhm.
And so while I was looking for these jobs and applying, I also model for a company here in Salt Lake. I've been modeling for them for 9 years, almost, maybe 10, almost. It was really close to when I started the Lovely Avenue because I was making flowers and they found me on Instagram and bought flowers from me in order to use for one of their photo shoots. And when I walked in and dropped them off, the owner was like, Do you want to model? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, what? No. But it ended up being a really great like little side thing that I got to do for the last 9 years because you just go in, you take some photos, you go home, and it worked. So when I was at one of my modeling gigs, they overheard me saying like, "Yeah, I'm applying for jobs," and they had to do a lot of downsizing in the last year because of all of the tariffs and everything that's been happening.
Mhm.
So they've also kind of been doing a bunch of restructuring. My boss is just overwhelmed. And so she basically was like, this is kind of this job. It's a really niche job, which is, and I kind of expressed what I needed. I was like, I can't work more than 3 days a week. I still want to go to the studio. Like, I was really looking for a very, very, very niche position. And thankfully, she has been so wonderful to work with. But basically, I'm in their marketing department, and so they create collections of clothes. They're really, really cute, like sweater sets, and they're really comfortable. And they have these collections made almost a year in advance. Like, we already know what's coming out for January of next year, which I'm like, I don't understand how you guys think this way. And so when she creates these collections, she has a very vision, like she has the vision of it in mind, what she wants this collection to make customers feel like, and overall the general feel of it. But by the time the collection rolls around, she's like, I'm thinking about next year in March.
Mhm.
I'm over this collection. And so my job is to come in and be like, okay, well, it's called this. So let's play around with different ideas of how we can market it, how we can do sneak peeks on Instagram, how we can push, especially since they have a cult following. They have people who own 50 plus sweaters from them. And so we're playing around with like dropping Easter eggs, like things like that. So it ended up being a fun thing for my brain to like, I still get to be creative. I'm learning how to work in Canva, which is like really, really fun. And I'm learning a lot about social media. But what's great about it is that I've been on my phone all the time, but when we're running our
Mhm.
own social media
Yeah.
accounts. So what I love about this position that I'm really grateful and thankful that happens is that I basically create the content about 2 weeks in advance and we schedule it out. And then their social media manager takes it and goes and runs with it and posts. And I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is perfect for me. So then I'm not on my phone all day for someone else's business. And I'm not worried about random mean comments or whatever. I'm just creating the content. And then I do like, obviously it's not as like sometimes things happen and they need to switch around collections, and that's fun. That's crazy when I'm like, wait, this thing I've been working on for the last 3 weeks, now you're moving it like moving it down and moving something else up that I haven't touched at all. Okay, but it's fun. It's fast paced. And then I haven't worked, as you like we were mentioning earlier, I haven't worked in an office in years. So it's been really fun to like transition to like having coworkers and being
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't say this stuff out loud anymore. Like I can't just like randomly start singing or like I realize that I'm just really weird. Like I'm like, what? So sorry guys. I'm not
Welcome
used
to
to
the
being in
club.
public apparently. Like and so it's been a really fun learning curve. I'm really grateful that it's with women that I already know because I model for the company. So like I at least knew most of them and worked closely with two of them as a model. And I still get to model for them, which is great. So it's right now just a perfect situation where I work part-time and I get to have my Mondays and Tuesdays where I can go into the studio if I feel like I need to make anything, but we can transition to this. I haven't. I've gone into the studio to check to make sure it hasn't burned down or there's no water damage or anything like that. And I try to go in once a week, but I don't feel like making anything. I go in, I have nothing, right? The shop is closed, which that was a really sad thing to do. But at the same, I can't have random
Yeah.
orders coming in when I'm like, ah. And so I just sit there and I'm like waiting for the moment where I'm like, I can't, yes, blank page, let's go. And nothing is coming to me yet. And at first, that was really scary. And I get really like hard on myself. I'm like, why can't you just make something? Just
Mhm.
make it. And then I finally was like, for who? For what? Like, it would be for me. And if I'm still in this headspace of like nothing is good enough, then I don't need to force it yet. And I also think it was time of year, right? January. Ugh, and a new job. And so I was just kind of like letting myself have, because I started the new job at the beginning of December. And then I think I sent my newsletter out. Was it the beginning of January or was it in December as well? I don't remember. Oops. But it was, I think I made the decision really quick, and I actually feel bad. So I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I can go, I kind of want to backtrack and express how, when I decided to let my newsletter people know and
Of course.
therefore need to let Instagram know and the rest of my followers. And so I kind of just put it out there. I was like, oh, I mean, I made this decision a month ago and now I have the job. And like, I was kind of already just writing the like, everything's going to be fine. But then I ripped the Band-Aid off really fast. I was like, oh, I'm just going to throw this in the newsletter and then it needs to be put on Instagram because people who read the newsletter might start talking and that's not fair to not let everybody know. But like I failed to like let my old assistant know, who by the way, Alexandra is probably like a majority of the reason why I've been in business for as long as I have is because of the help she's given me for the last 5 years. I failed to let her know. I was just in this like super tunneled, like I've made this decision and no one can talk me out of it. Not that she would have tried, but like I felt so horrible. She found out through Instagram. I saw her comment and I was like, shit, like out of all of the people, I should have probably told her. But it was just like me and my husband, and I was like, I'm doing it. We're good. And then I spent that Tuesday, because I remember it was not a day that I wasn't at work. I spent that Tuesday crying the entire day, just seeing all the direct messages, all of the comments on the Instagram post, emails. I got over 100 emails of people just needing to let me know. Like, first of all, I had clients who were just like, please no. And I'm like, and that was really sweet. But then other, I didn't realize how far my reach was. And I think every time that I get in a room with people like Quynh and Jessie and Sara, I'm reminded how far it is, but we're in our own bubble that I don't think we realize how much we actually do, inspire people. So that was a really rough day. And immediately I was like, did I make a mistake? I think I made a mistake. I think I made a really bad mistake. And I'm just like crying, and my husband's just like, whoa, what are we doing? You already accepted a job. And I was like, what do I do? I'm scared. And then I started to settle down, and I just realized, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I went to work. When I went to work the next day, everyone in the office was so sweet. They're like, oh my gosh, like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm excited to be here, which to me tells me that this is the right decision. Like, I was excited to get up and go to work today, and that this is this isn't my thing. You're the boss. You make all the choices, decisions, and I get to walk away from this. And I don't know if that's maybe what I need. I don't know if that's what I needed, but that's how I knew. I'm like, okay, if I could have that type of response and I still know in my gut that this is not where I need to be, I know I'm doing the right thing. But it was also just so heartwarming and so loving that I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. But that was really tough because it reminded me how much my self-worth is wrapped into this image, to this brand that I've created. And then the brand that is so attached to just me and my face and my name. Who am I when I'm not that brand?
Yeah.
And that was a really scary thing to face. I believe that was in December. I think it was in December, if not in January. And now I'm having a really lovely time finding out who I am. It's been when I started to feel bad that I didn't go into the studio on Monday and Tuesday, I know I know I'm coming from a very privileged position to say this because I don't have kids and I have a very loving and supportive husband and I have a job now that I can pay my bills. But it's the first time that I'm like, if I don't have to work, then why am I going to force it right now?
Mhm.
Like, I'm lucky enough to get to sit and internally reflect and figure out who I am. That doesn't revolve around what I can make, how pretty I look, and what I can provide for someone else's business. I can just sit in my own self and go, who are you? When it doesn't revolve around what you can create.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, but I do know that I'm like really, really, I think it's all of the things that we've worked like that my husband and I have worked really hard for. We're finally sitting in them, and I'm just enjoying the moment for now.
Yeah.
So I started Pilates, which has been
Nice.
really fun. I'm very sore. I just went to class this morning. That was gnarly. But like I'm moving my body more. I'm getting a chance to be outside more. Like now that it's starting to warm up, I'm excited to garden and figure out what I'm going to plant this year. And it's just re-falling back in love with life. And I'm really grateful and privileged that I get to do that. And I know that not many can. And I think that that's why I feel a little not scared, but it's difficult to be this vulnerable because this isn't, I'm hoping it's coming across as inspiration and not like I have more than you or I'm able
Yeah.
to do like I'm not trying to do that. I totally understand and recognize that this is would be really hard for most people. But at the same time, it's really about what you prioritize, right? And it is okay to prioritize yourself first. Because like I said, I'm probably the happiest I've been in the last 2 years, I would say,
Mhm.
and I don't wanna make a flower yet. And I want to wake up like I used to, where I could not stop thinking about making flowers, where I couldn't stop thinking about the ways to dye or the ways to paint or the ways to maybe adjust, I don't know, a frill here or add stamen here. I used to dream about it and go to the studio. And I used to work until like 8 or 9 p.m. And Chris would be texting, like, dinner's been ready for an hour. And I'm like, shit, I'm sorry. Sorry, my language. I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't know what time it is, right? Like, I used to work that way and it
Yeah.
didn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And now it does. And I need to step away until I start dreaming about it again. Cause I know I will, but it's not right now.
Yeah.
And
I was
I
really
feel
heavy.
like no,
it's
I
totally
feel like
okay.
I've been there. Yeah, we totally understand where you're coming from because I think all 3 of us, all 4 of us dream and think about flowers day in and day out.
Mhm.
And then when you do lose, and I felt like I did lose, I was there, like in January, I had health issues. And I was just like, I just
Mm,
can't do it. And it resonates so much with me what you were going through.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot for one person to deal with alone. And I'm so glad you have an amazing husband that was so supportive and telling you, I know how much you love this. I think you lost it and you'll come back. And I'm glad you were strong enough to say, no, I know what I need for myself.
yeah.
And I'm happy that you're so happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like, I was at a store and someone was asking me for my email, and I still give my business email because why not? And that's such an easy elevator pitch too. It helps people go like, "What is the lovely Av?" And then that's so quick to pull out your phone, right? So she did. She asked me what my the lovely Av was, and I did find that spark of joy, being like, "Yeah, like this is what I do." It turned into like a there was multiple women in this store and they are all over my phone. I've got like everyone started following and they're looking at the Instagram and the website. And funny enough, my husband was with me, which is like rare for him to see this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just tearing up in front of these women that don't know me because I'm just like, I'm not doing it right now. But it reminded me why I did it a
Yeah.
while ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
yes.
none of them are gonna buy from me, but I still created this little spark of joy in their day and that they got to see work
Yeah.
that they were so inspired by, and so I know that it's not over for me, I need to get back there. I just can't rush it, or I
Mhm.
feel like I'm just
Yeah.
But I
never
think,
ever gonna yeah.
like you said, the little break that you did have so far, you are able to get these moments back to be like, whoa, it is really cool to what I used to do. Or like, like have this time to pause and be like, yeah, like that's what I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when you're in the moment, it is really hard to be like you feel like you're just worried about your business and you're worried
yeah.
about sales. But like, I'm so glad that like you were able to take out your phone and be like, yeah, this is what I made. And I think the reaction would have been different if you were doing your business at the moment. You would have
Yeah.
been like, you need to follow me and buy something, instead of
Yeah.
in that
Well,
moment and be like,
exactly. I think I would have thought all day, like, is a sale gonna come in from them?
Mhm. Yeah.
They followed me, they know the website, is a sale gonna come in? Instead, I left that whole day just going, oh my gosh, I got to share my work
Yeah.
again, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the one feedback I would say is it's really easy for us as artists, especially when we're working just ourselves, to get so insular that the only feedback we have is Instagram and sales or TikTok. I don't know what social medias you are all on, but I'm old and I can only do one. So I think that kind of feedback was really getting to me, and I didn't put myself out there enough because I started to think less about my work, and so then I started getting nervous about putting myself back out there. That was a really nice reminder. It was really great to feel it again, and then to again just remind myself, like, yeah, but I don't need to go back right now. Like, it's okay. That's still there. I will say that my biggest fear with this break, which is something I feel like I'm sorry if I'm just jumping around on topics, but my biggest fear with this break is what if I can never create that well again? Like, I do think that you create every day, refocusing on muscle memory, and you get to, I don't know, expand out of your usual stuff. I don't I my biggest fear is like, what if I can't make stuff after this? Like,
Actually, I quit technically my original Handmade by Sara Kim was for bridal accessories.
yeah,
So
I
I
remember that.
made
That's how I started following
accessories.
you.
Yeah. And
Because I
I,
got married in 2013 and that's how I started following you. And then when you switched over to paper, I was like,
yeah.
woof, yeah. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Keep going.
Actually, it was kind of like I needed to take a break from it, and
Hmm.
that's why I got into paper flowers. I used to make paper flowers originally. It kinda goes all together, but I got so sick of wiring and beading and sewing, and that creativity was, like, completely lost. And, even till this day, I'm like, I do keep all the stuff that I did make during that time, and I tell my audience, like, one day I'll show you guys, like, one day I'll get back to it, but I still have yet to touch a veil, sash, a bead, because
Sarah,
it
that's
did kind of
encouraging.
burn me out.
Like, what if I can never come back? She's like, I still have
Yeah.
it.
Now
But
she's gonna say, and I got back to it. And I'm like,
no,
okay, that was
I mean, I do think one day I'll get back to it, but I think it's okay. Like, maybe you'll
it
find
is
a
okay.
new, like,
Yes.
craft or a new way to do something, right? And this is with
Yeah.
paper flowers too. I actually love going back and forth from, like, card making to making paper flowers to making a giant flower because they all kind of do different things in your hands and your
Yeah.
brain? So maybe, like, when you do come back to something, to your office, like, it'll be completely something new, but it's still gonna
You
be, like,
know,
good.
Yeah.
I'm being really inspired by is a paper florist. Her name is Kelly, and I don't think I can pronounce her last name. But
Yeah.
it starts with a P. And I will share it with you after this. She is incredible with her realism, but then she moved houses, I believe, and needed to reset her studio and hasn't, like, it took a while to reset. And then she was sharing how she just, like, kind of has this, like, I don't know how to get back into this because her work was at a level where it was like Tiffany Turner level. It's so realistic that it's like, well, yeah, I can understand how it'd be hard to get into if your stamen takes you like this many days, right? I don't know actually how long it takes. She's incredible. I love her work. And so I've noticed what she's done is she's just like, I'm actually doing the complete opposite. I'm trying to make flowers look very unrealistic in a sense of just like putting these shapes together, and she's having a lot of fun. It's bringing out her creativity again, and so she's inspiring me a little bit, but I'm not sure if I'm even ready to do that yet. I'm like, I would love for me to just create a peony again or a Icelandic poppy again, like something that I know I could do with my eyes closed. But maybe I don't want to do those because I do them all the time. And so I'm just kind of waiting for that like little wind to blow. I did cut petals last week, which was fun. I was like, let me just like remember how to use scissors.
Yeah.
And I love how I'm acting as if I'm going to forget everything in 3 months. It's only been 3 months, but I have taken months off before. Like, I remember, I think that one year where Mother's Day was crazy and there was some other big order I was dealing with, I had to take like 3 months off.
Hmm.
And that was because I was just so drained. And That's funny. I'm kind of having an epiphany right now. It's just like I got right back into it. But I think it's because I know this isn't going to be 3 months.
Mhm.
Like, I would be surprised if it's a year.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't want to put a timeline on it. I don't want to be I really just want to give myself the opportunity to kind of just see where it takes me. I'm really grateful, like I said, that this job now allows me to pay for my studio's rent and still lets me pay for my bills and still lets me like so that's great. And yeah, it's
I think
just
that's
kind of
okay.
but that is the hope that I can do this year. It's like instead of focusing on what I'm creating next, I do know I have these 9 pieces that are sitting on a wall. And on top of it, I have all of the content for those pieces. I paid to have a videographer make incredible videos for them. Uh, I have photos. I have all of this work. And so I'm hoping what happens in the next couple months is maybe a rebrand, which is really scary. But if I've already kind of taken a step back from who I am as the Lovely Av and what I'm known for, it's like, well, I might as well just revamp it. So you will hear it here first, I guess, because this is literally what I'm thinking about right now. But you guys know me; I can be this vulnerable, and I might change my mind, so it's fine. But I'm really considering like switching away, kind of what you did, Jessie, away from the Lovely Av and just being Margie
Yourself.
Keates. And
Yeah. Why
I
not?
think that that might be the best way for me to differentiate what is hanging on my walls
Mhm.
and selling those at a different level and being that type of artist versus the Lovely Avenue, which was great for its time and great for the time period too, right? These very little niche, random custom orders, but like you had to have a lot on your site in order to catch as many as you wanted to catch. And that's
Mhm.
also really hard because you
Yeah.
can't at least for me, I couldn't create at the level I wanted to create because I couldn't create as fast as I needed to.
Mhm.
I couldn't take, well, you can take 2 months on a custom order. I just wasn't attracting clients that could take that long. Even 3 weeks production time would lose some people, a lot of people actually. When you remind them, like, I have to make this, it takes time.
Yeah.
It's still some, and I get it. Some people
Yeah.
jump on the site and was like, "Oh, I just need this for my friend this weekend," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I don't have anything in stock." Which is why I thought the ready to ship would do well, and it did for a while. But because I needed to produce so many things every 3 months or every 2 months, the quality to me still was meh. And I hate saying that out loud because I hope that the people who are hearing this who did purchase from my ready to ship know that I did put all of my heart in those pieces. I really
Sure.
did because I really, really wanted to find myself back in these pieces again. But
Mhm.
I think I was doing it I know I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it to make rent and to pay my bills. And it wasn't because I loved the process. And
Mhm.
so I still believe that what I put out there, because of course I would never put anything out there that I didn't like want to stick my name to, but that's just how I knew
Yeah.
Yeah.
that this isn't a collection. And then if you kind of look at the Instagram, I knew subconsciously I didn't really share about them because it wasn't work I don't know, I don't want to say proud of because I was, but it just was a different type of work for me.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that this year, I don't know, I mean, the next couple of months, I can just start working on rebuilding the website in a different
Yeah.
way, maybe rebranding, and actually pushing this collection into a gallery or because
Mhm.
I really think that what burned me out, and I don't want to scare anyone away from this because everyone is different, but what burned me out was having to do everything, every hat you had to wear. And I'd
Yeah.
really, and I don't even know if this is how the process works, but I'd really like to get to a point where I'm selling my work through somewhere else,
Mhm.
where I'm just creating the work and someone is doing the marketing for me and someone is, yeah, taking a cut, but they should because they're doing that job that I don't want to do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so hopefully I can get there. And if not, then I'll try something else because I don't think that this is over, but I am in a good spot right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I
good to
was going to
hear.
say there was a artist, also paper flower artist. She took a step back and she started doing like pasta. Do you guys know who that is?
Oh,
The
Jennifer
one
Tran?
that Jennifer Tran.
Is it Jennifer Tran? Yeah.
Yes.
And now she's doing
Like
Yarn.
fiber
fiber
Yarn
yarn.
work.
Yeah.
Yes.
arts, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
She's one of
and
my
I
first
love
that
her
I
stuff.
I
followed. I
know.
I
love
know.
her
Yeah.
stuff.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like,
I
if you
And
feel
think
I
like
about it, it's like, she still has the same message
Aesthetic.
and
Yeah.
Mhm.
aesthetic. It's just a different medium, right?
Yeah.
And
And
so
I love
who
that
knows?
she was like, she peaked, she got her book out,
She did.
she was creating incredible work, and she was just like, meh.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
do remember thinking when that happened, I was like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you're here.
Yeah.
And now seeing what she created, you're right. It's still her. It's still
And it's
coming
still
from this
really good
unique,
too.
Yeah.
The
really good work.
pasta, I was
Yeah.
so
I
Yeah.
impressed.
know.
The yarn work is
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
colors she used. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
Jennifer. Like, this is so her work.
Yeah.
And I do think that it is so special that she didn't let herself feel like she had to stay in it. And
Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
know, Quynh, if you want to like talk about this, but and this is just based off of what got the feel of it towards the end of last year for you. But it almost felt like your book went out. You were on this like book tour high. And then it sounds like some health stuff. So I'm so sorry to hear about it. But like the way I saw it come across is like, well, where do you go from there? If you're already here
Mhm.
and you've worked so hard to get that out, like it is only natural to need to come back down here for your mental health. Is that
Mhm.
what you felt like?
Interesting. I haven't gone to that point where maybe in the back of my head, I have thought about that, but I think because I have the podcast,
Mm,
I'm constantly thinking about how I can serve my community better. And one thing that I keep thinking about, why do I still love what I'm doing? And what connects the dots for me? And it's really the foundation of paper flowers and connecting, like, why do you need scissors and glue and crepe paper? And I'm reaching a different audience on a different platform called Substack, where I really want to deep dive more on all the different glues. Because one thing as a crafter or an artist, you have a lot of supplies. And the
yeah.
crazy thing about our paper flowers is you can jump all over these mediums from sewing to gardening to painting to watercolors, acrylic, and apply it to crepe paper. And it takes it to a whole nother, it opens many doors to paper flowers. And I think that's why I keep falling back in love with paper flowers is because I'm watercoloring. And I was like, wait a minute, what if I use acrylic? Wait, what if I use oil paint? What if I use color pencils? Where does that take me? And the thing is,
Mm,
there are people doing this full time, and I'm just scratching the surface of it. And it makes me think about, oh my gosh, I get that spark of joy again of like, oh my gosh, I can do this, I can do that. And then when I do have this podcast where I get to talk to you, I get to talk to all these different artists about how they create their art. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think that I could do that. And so it pulls me back again like, what is in my toolbox?
mm,
What do I have that I have hobbied over the years of sewing, of quilting? Can I apply it to paper flowers? What are the
I love
possibilities?
that.
And so that still rejuvenates me. And I just love that. And I want to create that foundation and tell people it's okay to grab things from all these other arts and craft to pull it into crepe paper because I think the bottom part is I love flowers, flowers in all different forms from metal, ceramic, paper. I'm drawn to it over and over. And so I'm deep diving into gardening this year because I really want to kind of take the summer off, but not really, but take more time to redo my patio, redo my garden, and fall in love with flowers again to enjoy what I'm doing. Because really, I love dissecting and pulling apart flowers, watching it grow, seeing the different growth patterns, and seeing how I can apply it. It's like a circle that comes back, but there's like
Yeah.
other pivots that goes back and forth. So in certain ways, I'm happy that I'm coming down from it a little bit from the sales of the book, all these workshops. I'm still doing a lot of workshop, but I need a breather. It just like having the health scare really kind of like, okay, what are you doing? You've been so busy. Let's take that moment to ground yourself again, to rediscover what you love and talking to people. I think one of my passion is talking to people and meeting people. And I want to do that again. And that's just giving me so much joy. I love it.
Thank you for letting me know that. I love that. Yeah, have you guys heard of the new paper, the Koyo paper? Kozo paper?
Kozo
Kozo
paper,
paper.
yes.
Kozo.
Okay,
I am
let me
so
tell you.
curious about that.
Let me tell you about this. So I was on a mission when I went to Japan twice to find Kozo paper. Can I tell you that I talked to so many of my Japanese friends and people and stores about Kozo paper? Because Kozo paper is actually, through the process, is actually washi paper,
Mhm.
which is a lot of you
Oh,
recognize as washi stickers.
Yeah.
So it's the
Mhm.
process of pounding the fibers down to create this sheets of paper where they refine it thinner and thinner for washi paper. Okay, I went to the village that created Kozu paper to hopefully buy Kozu paper, but no one sells it. It is a lost art. So it's so much manufactured now to be sold as washi paper that they really take the Kozo part of it and just streamline it. And so I was just flabbergasted that I could not find Kozo paper in Japan. And people did not know what it was. And I was like, what's Kozo paper? And so they had to like Google it and like, oh, you're talking about this paper. And so one of my friends, he was so kind. He's in the paper realm. He went talked to some of his friends and says, okay, there's a small town 2 hours from here that you could take the train and go get. I was like, I don't think I have time to do that. It was just bookmarked so that if I do have time to go back, I will definitely make it a mission to go to this little store in a different town away from the original village that created the Kozo paper. But I have
wow.
videos and footage of this village of all the pots that you have to cook down the fibers and where they pound the paper. It's just magical. I'll share it in my stories for you guys if you guys are interested. But it's just magical on this village and the videos. We spent 4 or 5 hours in this village just going because there was like videos and a pathway that you could see of how the village functioned to just deliver and make kozo paper. Yes. But
Whoa.
Jessie has been working on it and she can get it in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, we have a
Wow.
Japanese paper place, that only
Yeah.
sells wholesale, so you can't sell directly from them, but they distribute it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they call it many different things. It just depends on what country you're from, right? I mean, like, I mean, they call it a rice paper, but it's not rice either. You might have heard it as mulberry paper too. Like, there's a lot of names
Yes.
for it. So, but there are different types. It's, I mean, honestly, I think like any medium, you have to work with it. You may or may not like it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do you feel about it? Have you worked with it?
It's easier than because it's fiber paper, it's easier than working with, let's say, printer paper. But,
Mm,
I mean, people have had a lot of success with just Canson paper, right? Which
mm,
is, a high quality archival paper. I do like the Kozo in that it's more flexible in a way, it's fiber, so there's no stretch to it. But it's
mm,
kinda like there is because it's not printer paper. Because it still has fiber in it, but it is different because it's not meant to be soaked in color, right? It's meant for calligraphy, it's meant for even watercolor. You have to buy the ones that are sized, right? The ones that have it's through the process they put sizing or some sort of chemical in it to make it so that the water, when you use it with water, it's more predictable. So I
mm.
usually use sized versions of Kozo, and you can't find that everywhere either. And I've used both handmade and, machine made. And frankly, for our purposes, it's not a big difference. The price is big difference though. Like a big sheet of the handmade ones is like 25 dollars. When it's machine made, it's $5.
Oh my
So
goodness.
pricing wise is big difference, but I honestly have not found because we do so much to it. We color the entire thing. It's not like calligraphy where it really matters how the water flows. Calligraphy, you don't want it to flow all the way out. So I can see how, like, really good handmade kozo paper would be really important. But if we're not and we're coloring the whole thing and you're doing, like, multiple layers, honestly, it doesn't matter. Um,
Wow, okay.
but it's just interesting it's different, it's different from crepe paper. I think crepe paper is still amazing in its ability to just stretch and shape
Yeah.
and form. You really cannot take that away from crepe paper. It's the only type of paper that you can literally wrap around something and it'd be like perfectly flat. You know what I mean? Like perfectly molded. And sometimes I think because we work with it so much, we
No.
kind of lose that wow thing, right? Because we're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course I can do this. But other people have no idea. Like that I think that's why like sometimes we do have to step away and change our perspective. And then when we come back, we realize what we've kind of lost or missed, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
'Cause you see the
Mhm.
world again. You're outside of your bubble and you realize, "Wait, like, my bubble was really good." Like, I had these amazing, like, tools and mediums and ideas and stories that I was working with, and other people have no idea whatsoever. And that perspective of stepping away and coming back, kinda like when you arrange something and then you're like, "I'm not quite sure," and you step away, you come back the next day and you have fresh eyes, like, that I think can create so much inspiration in yourself and you get excited again, you know? And it might not be like the exact same thing that you're gonna do, but it might be something different. But I think, Margie, I think you have a lot of stories to tell. And I think that they can come out in many different forms, right? In your modeling
Mhm.
and your branding. I think all of that, there's a thread of you that goes through everything you do. And so whatever you return back to or new or go to, I think it's gonna be you in that moment, and it's gonna be right, and whether or not it's paper flowers or not, I think you're gonna know, right? And it might not I'm just saying it might
Yes.
not be, who knows? It
Oh my
might not be,
gosh.
but I think whatever you
Yeah.
do next, whatever you pick up, I think it's gonna be uniquely you. So I wouldn't worry at all. I think it's an amazing time to be able to be at peace with not doing that, right? At peace
Yeah.
at finding yourself. And I think that's when the flow is gonna come back, that creative flow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Jessie, thank you. That's very nice of you to
No,
say.
for sure. I mean, you're an artist, you're creative. I think that it's
Yes.
inevitable that some of that's gonna come out in some way, shape, or form, and it's you, right? It's like your
Yeah.
life. It's
Yeah.
you as a
I think that's
person.
why, on the Instagram now, I'm sharing more of, like, my home and just my, like, things that I like to do on a regular basis. It's hard because, like, I obviously wanna keep privacy, especially for my husband, he's a very private person, and I also wanna make sure that, like, people who are there for flowers are not like, "What the heck is going on?" But at the same time, it's like, well, this is gonna transition one way or another, and I don't see the point in, like, closing the shop like, the Instagram down. It's just like, if you wanna still be here, I'm still me, as you
Yeah.
were saying, and that is something that I'm starting to come around to, but it's kinda hard
For sure.
when you know that they were when you built an account that wasn't around your face, it's around even though we show our faces, and I do think it's very important that you do show the artist behind the work so that people have something to connect to. It was pretty, I would say, somewhat rare for me for you to see me regularly. And now that's gonna become well, I don't know if it's gonna become more regular, but it is nice to have the opportunity. I don't see myself becoming any form of influencer at all, but not that there's anything wrong with that. I just literally can't do that. That feels like way too much time online for me and my mental health. If I was struggling with like Instagram's metrics before, I would have a really hard time with that. But yeah, I'll be curious to see where it goes. I hope I get to come back on the podcast in a year and be like, yay, but, I'm really grateful that I get the opportunity to do it, and I hope to be able to say for others in the future that this was I mean, no matter what, I think this is the thing I needed to do, because if not, I would have stayed in a rut that I wasn't creating at the best I could
Yeah,
create.
for sure.
Yeah, take the break if you need to. Get a part-time job if that's the direction that you need to do. It is okay to need to make money. I know that that sounds bad, but it's like we're in a capitalist society. We're in a society where we have to do that. If you don't have to, great. If that doesn't mean you don't need to take a break from your hobby or from the ability to just like if this is not the level you want to create anymore, if you're not feeling that intense fire like we've been talking about, it's okay to walk away, genuinely. Hoping that I can show, I mean, just like Jennifer has shown, just like I'm sure there's other artists out there who have done this, who've taken the step and either grown into something new or have come back and created again. Like I said, I don't really see this as forever goodbye for me, but you never know. But I am so grateful for the 11 years that I did have. I'm so grateful to have met you three wonderful women and all the other amazing people that I've met because of this journey. I'm so incredibly honored to know that my work is out there and that people love it and that people still cherish their work from me. And I'm excited to see where maybe the still lifes go. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited for this year.
Yeah, we're excited for you, Margie.
Yeah. We're
Oh,
cheering
thanks,
So
you on.
guys.
amazing. Yes.
I
Thank
love
you
you
for
guys.
sharing this. We love you too.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited for what the next year will look like. No matter what decision that you make,
Yeah.
just know that we're here for you. And we definitely want you back in another year. And we'll
Yeah.
see what's going on.
Okay,
All
I'd
right.
love that.
To end our episode, I want to ask you, what is the one thing that you are doing or if you purchase that is making you supremely happy right now?
I am genuinely obsessed with Trader Joe's flowers. Like, you go in and there's just whatever's pre-planted, pre-potted for you. Like, I love filling my house full of them. So I have this gorgeous hellebore plant. I don't know if you can see it. This huge hellebores that's just this perfect creamy white with these like beautiful lavender tints at the tip of the petal. And I got that for like $11. I'm like, what is this? This at a
Wow.
nursery would be 25. And so I'm just like, it's really bad for me to walk in there and be like, I'm going to get some daffodils today and some tulips and this plant. And it's funny because like I'll have friends come over to my house and be like, where's your work? And I'm like, oh, I don't have any paper flowers in my house, which I think is interesting. But it's like, well, that they're at the studio and the flowers that I love that I'm so proud of are in my clients' hands, right? They're not in mine.
Yeah.
And it's because of what you said, Quynh. Like, I started this because I loved flowers and I really have a horrible green thumb. Can't keep anything alive. That's why Trader Joe's is great because when it dies, I'm just like, okay, that was $3. And
Yeah.
sometimes like, I don't throw the bulbs away. Like, I'll plant them in my yard. And if they come back on their own, great. If not, sorry, that's why I went into paper flowers. But I
Yeah.
genuinely love trying. I know that sounds crazy, but like I'm excited for it to get warm enough where I can plant geraniums in the front again. Like I think that's the thing right now is just getting the alive things in my house and just really enjoying trying to nurture and take care of them and most of the time failing at that and learning as best as I can. But yeah, real flowers right now are keeping me really happy.
I
Aw.
couldn't agree more. Keep an eye out for pink jasmine. It is under $10. Yes, right? It's
Right
awesome.
here. I already got it's barely just finished
Yeah.
blooming for me. It made my house smell for like 2 weeks straight. Stunning. I love it so much. Unfortunately, here in Utah, the zone can't winter over because I would plant it in my yard, but it doesn't winter over. So it makes me really sad. But
Well, you can enjoy it for the summer. If you plant it now, it
uh-huh.
will bloom all summer and give you wonderful blooms and scents.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm gonna
Do
go
it.
plant
Do
it.
it.
I'm so excited.
Do that with your hellebore because hellebore
Yeah.
will come back again.
Yeah, I planned on putting my hellebore in the side, like on my side yard, because I know it doesn't love a ton of light or a ton of sunshine. I'm west facing, so it's really hard. We get a lot of, especially in the summer, it gets really hot. But yes, I do plan on planting that in the backyard somewhere. And that is also what I've been focusing on. Like we kind of have a blank slate in our backyard that we've been here for 4 years now. This was also the year that I was going to kind of plan out my like English cottage garden situation that I want to do back there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like finding ways to use flowers and plants in a creative way with that doesn't necessarily have to be paper, but it can still, spark that little joy that I first had when I first started. I mean, I started because I couldn't afford flowers for my wedding. I needed to make flowers because I ran out of money and I was like, well, I can maybe make them. And that's how I got into it. And then I'd buy real flowers and take them apart. And that's how I learned how to make them. So it's always come from this really intense love of just beautiful things that
Mhm.
bloom. And I know this is so cheesy and so cliche, but like I am trying to take what I'm doing right now is clearly my wintering over. Like, and I'm allowed to. They do
Yeah.
it every year, and we're not supposed to be like constantly producing all of the
Mhm.
time. We're just not. I do think that we're able to because our brains are obviously much bigger. But we're going with this. But you know what I mean? Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yeah.
I just I'm taking note and just enjoying them where right now, especially like I have an almond tree that's out front and it's blooming right now and it's beautiful. And I'm just taking spring in and really enjoying it. And then summer is my favorite time. I get to longboard with my husband and we love going to breweries and traveling. So I'm just entering a really good time of year where I get to like refocus on me and my relationships and yeah, just hope that that spark comes back. I know it will. It's just I don't want to put a timeline on it.
Yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yes. How about you, Sarah? What is sparking joy for you right now?
Maybe I'll tag along with the Trader Joe's theme. I just
Sponsor
got
us.
it.
I'm just joking.
I know, right? I didn't try it yet. So I'm actually going to try it right after our recording. But I just got it's like the Takis, the rolled tortilla, but they just came out with a ranch flavor. So I just bought
What?
it. I haven't tried it yet, so I have to go and try it, but it sparks joy either way because it's new and we
A
love
little
a new
crisp.
Trader Joe's snack, right?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes. How about you, Jessie?
Well, we don't have Trader Joe here,
Sorry.
but we do have I know, sorry. But we do have Costco.
Heck yeah,
Costco.
Costco.
Good enough.
And my husband, bought the Pillsbury, like, cinnamon buns, the dough, but it comes in a bag or box of 3 as opposed to just 1. So 3 is like 15 rolls that you can make. So we've, like, already ate 2 tins, so we have 1 more roll, and he was like, "Oh," like, like, "We have to eat them really soon because 'cause they're due in, like, I don't know, end of March." And I'm like, "No, you can freeze them." Like, just taking them out and then freeze them. But, yeah, we've been eating a lot of that, and that has sparked a lot of joy.
Heck yeah.
Do you put a little bit of cream on top to
Yeah,
make
so
it super tender?
it comes with icing. The Pillsbury one, like, comes with icing in the little tin. So, like, after we make it, we just, like, pour it on top, and
Oh,
it's
no. This
delicious.
is an extra step. Before you bake it, you
No.
add a little bit cream at the bottom. And what happens is it forms this own creamy thing, but it makes the roll even more tender.
Oh, no. No. We just stick it in there.
Yeah.
But the
Yes.
whole
Quynh
point is
makes
just to
everything fancy
the
though.
whole point is just to
Of
dump it
course,
in
Queen
there.
makes everything. I was like,
Yes.
Queen? Okay, I'm coming over to Quinn's house.
Yes,
Yes.
you should. So I've been on a huge sourdough kick where I've been adding a lot of different types of additives to my sourdough because, sourdough is just flour, salt, and water. And I was like, ooh, how can I make this more special? So one of my favorite things that a lot of my friends are requesting that I make is actually black sesame seeds with a little bit of brown sugar and cinnamon
Ooh.
layered in. So you have that swirl. And when that sugar caramelizes and bubbles out, you get this really dark, rich caramely piece. And it is so good. And I try to make it less brown sugar. So I started adding dates to it and it just melts into the bread. So you get this pocket of sugar, but it's supposed to be healthy for you because it's dates. So that's been really good.
That's a
And
good
then one of
one.
my other friends asked me to do, how the Trader Joe garlic crunchy oil? So I've been adding that in layers so you get the swirl of the garlic crunchiness in it. And it is so good.
Oh,
So,
nice.
I'm
so,
gonna
so.
try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't add too much of the oil. Just add the little piece in the middle because it will kind of leak out. But the cool thing about the oil, it will fry the bread on the bottom. So it's
Oh my gosh. Chili crisp fried bread? Give it to me right now.
yes,
My
yes,
good.
yes. I love it. And then one thing I've been doing as a gift, Sarah, I know you give a lot of sourdough, is
Yes.
Costco has the Irish spreadable butter. And what I do is I take an ice cream scoop and I scoop a good dollop it out and put it in. You know how Costco also has the flan in the glass jars? So I have so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
of those.
Yeah,
So
I
I
keep
scoop,
those too.
no, right? So you scoop the butter into like an ice cream topper and you add it as a present. And
Aw,
it's so
cute.
good.
So cute.
Wow.
I know.
Quynh, we should really you should do like one podcast episode of just like gifts for
Food.
friends. Like that is a
Just food.
genius
Yes.
way
Yes.
because that's a fun way to be creative. And like I
Yeah.
would have not put
Yeah.
those two things together, but that's so smart. Anyway,
Yeah. Bread
there's
and
a little
butter.
idea.
Yes. Bread and butter. I love it. Thank you, Margie, so much for sharing your heart and your story with us because I think a lot of our audience is definitely, I think, feel like going through that phase of like, is paper flower right for me? And I think hearing this story from you gives them a little bit of like, okay, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay to take a break. It's okay if I don't have an end goal of when I'm coming back. I'm just going to be me. And I think you are going to be an amazing you, whatever comes out of
Yeah.
this. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
love
Thank
you.
you, ladies. I love you all three so much. And I am still around. I'm following. I'm still being inspired by you three all of the time. So thank you so much. And thank you for what you do for our community. I think that it is so important. And I actually don't know how hard it is to do what you're doing, but I can imagine. So thank you so much for making the effort and taking the time and doing the financial burden of it too. I know that it matters to a lot of us to be able to hear kind of what you're saying, that be able to resonate with each other. So the only way we can do that is because of you guys. So thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome. You're welcome so
thank you.
much. It's
Yes.
definitely a passion of love for all three of us to be able to put this together. In reality, we don't really make any money from this podcast. We do it because we love sharing what we do. We love bringing guests like you in to kind of tell everyone paper flower, even though we're a niche area, there is so much joy and love in what we do.
Mhm.
And it phases in and out. We want to share all the good, all the bad, and help everyone in this.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, Margie. Thanks for being so vulnerable on this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you both, or all three of you, for having me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.